So you're trying to decide between Elizabeth and Castle Rock, Colorado? This is becoming a really common conversation with buyers right now because both areas offer amazing Colorado living, but they feel completely different. One gives you more of a small town feel with acreage properties, slower paced lifestyle. The other gives you more shopping, more restaurants, new suburban conveniences, and easier commuting. So today we're breaking down Elizabeth versus Castle Rock, the lifestyle, home prices, commute, schools, growth, pros and cons, and who each area is actually best for. My name is Marjorie Engel with Engel Homes Group here in Colorado. My team and I help people buy, sell, and relocate all over Elbert County, Douglas County, Elizabeth, Castle Rock, Parker, Franktown, and the surrounding areas. If you're thinking about moving to Colorado and want honest information about what it's really like living here, make sure to subscribe because we post videos every single week about Colorado real estate and lifestyle. Let's start with the overall vibe because honestly, this is very different and probably one of the biggest differences between the two. Elizabeth still feels like a true small town. You'll see open land, horse properties, local businesses, community events, tractors, livestock trailers, and a much more rural Colorado feel. A lot of people move to Elizabeth because they want more space, more privacy, acreage, and less congestion. Now, yes, Elizabeth has grown a lot recently, especially with communities like Independence, Spring Valley, and Gold Creek. But compared to Castle Rock, it still feels much quieter and more country. Now let's compare that to Castle Rock. Castle Rock feels much more suburban and developed. You've got major shopping, lots of restaurant options, and newer master plan communities, lots of entertainment, and way more amenities overall. Castle Rock still has beautiful Colorado scenery and open space, but it feels much more built out and busy compared to Elizabeth. Now let's talk about home prices. This is where a lot of buyers really start comparing the two. In Elizabeth, buyers often feel they can get more land, larger lots, bigger garages, workshops, barns, and horse property for the money. You'll find newer homes, custom homes, acreage properties, and rural estates. And honestly, buyers looking for RV garages, detached shops, animals, or room to breathe often lean towards Elizabeth pretty quickly. Now in Castle Rock, you'll usually get more neighborhood amenities, more walkability, more newer suburban communities, and easier access to shopping and restaurants. Castle Rock has a huge range of housing. You can have townhomes, starter homes, luxury communities, and some acreage areas on the outskirts. But generally speaking, land and privacy tend to cost a lot more in Castle Rock. Now let's talk about commuting because this can be a major deciding factor. Castle Rock sits directly along I-25, which gives you easier access to Denver, DTC, or Colorado Springs. That's a huge reason many commuters often choose Castle Rock. Elizabeth is further east, so commuting usually involves Highway 86, Parker Road access, or connecting through Parker or Franktown. Now, honestly, some people are completely fine with the extra drive because they value the quieter lifestyle. But if you commute daily to DTC or downtown Denver, Castle Rock will usually feel more convenient overall. Both areas are very popular with families, but they feel very different. Castle Rock falls within Douglas County School District, which is one of the larger and more well-known districts in Colorado. There are lots of school options, sports programs, activities, and larger suburban campuses. Elizabeth schools are smaller and more close-knit. A lot of families moving to Elizabeth specifically like that small town school feel. You'll hear people talk about stronger community connections, smaller classroom environments, and more local involvement. So honestly, neither is necessarily better. It just really depends on what environment your family prefers. Growth and development is another major difference. Castle Rock has exploded in growth. There's constant new construction, retail development, restaurants, road expansions, and new neighborhoods. Some people love that because there's always something new. Other people feel Castle Rock has become too crowded compared to what it used to be. Elizabeth is growing too, but at a much slower pace overall. There's definitely development happening, especially with newer communities and future commercial growth, but it still feels far less dense than Castle Rock. If your dream is acreage or horse property, Elizabeth usually wins this conversation for most buyers. You'll generally find more usable land, more agricultural zoning, more barns and workshops, and more flexibility for animals. Castle Rock does have acreage and horse properties, especially on the outskirts, but they tend to be more expensive, more competitive, and sometimes harder to find. Elizabeth has become very popular for buyers wanting the true Colorado lifestyle, horse properties, RV storage, detached shops, and space for toys and equipment. Now, if amenities matter to you, Castle Rock probably has an advantage. Castle Rock has all major retail stores, chain restaurants, local restaurants, tons of entertainment, gyms, Targets, Home Depots, and pretty much everything most people need daily. Elizabeth is smaller and more limited when it comes to those amenities. Now, honestly, that's part of the charm for many residents. And yes, you'll probably drive to Parker or Castle Rock for larger shopping trips. So, who is each area best for? Elizabeth is probably best for buyers who want acreage, horses, privacy, slower pace of life, or more land. If you want a rural lifestyle and a strong small town feel, Elizabeth is probably best for you. Castle Rock is probably best for buyers who want suburban convenience, easier commuting, shopping and restaurants, neighborhood amenities, and more city-style access while living in Colorado. And honestly, neither one is wrong. They're just completely different lifestyles. Thank you for watching. If you're trying to decide between Elizabeth, Castle Rock, Parker, Franktown, or anywhere in Douglas or Elbert County, my team and I would absolutely love to help you. We can help you compare areas, neighborhoods, acreage properties, commute times, and really figure out which lifestyle best fits you. Feel free to call, text, email, or message us anytime. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below which Colorado town you want us to compare next.